G'day, Adam from Oz Commercial Sewing Machines. We've got the Jack E4S 5-thread overlocker here. Thought I'd do a threading video. I think Peter's done one on the 4-thread, but we haven't done one on a 5-thread. They're obviously very similar, but a few differences. Okay, so all we're going to need to do this, we're going to need a pair of eyes, we're going to need a pair of tweezers, preferably Jack tweezers, and a pair of Jack scissors. I'm going to do this in stages. We're going to do the spools first and the layout, then I'm going to thread each one individually and show you what the thread path is on this machine. Okay, let's do it. Okay, each spool is basically threaded the same till we get down to our tension units. We come off the spool, we come up to the eyelets on the top here, threading from the rear to the front. You can see a 5 across here. We've then got this bar here, which is basically just to stabilise the thread, because if we're in a factory or windy environment, the threads can blow around, so this just keeps the threads on track. You can see down through the guides here, we've just done a twist through there, through the top, around and back through the top and down. Now of course our 5th tension unit's at the rear, or at the side, but enters from the rear. That's our chain looper, which is down around here. You can see the tension knob there, but we'll show you that one in a sec. So you can see these 4 are all threaded the same. Make sure you pull your threads into your tension discs, otherwise you'll get loose tensions, and make sure you feel that a little bit. You'll find that the 2 loopers are generally quite light, and the needles are much tighter. Okay, we're going to start with our upper looper first. So from our tension unit, we've come down through into these, there's 2 threading tubes here. So you can see we've come into this threading tube, through. We've come out the bottom, we've come to this guide on the left. Again, there's 2 guides, so this one on the left, down to our take-up levers here, up, back down again, there's 2 holes in this one, up, down again, and then up to a looper. I'll wind the machine over so you can see our upper looper. You can see it there. To make it a little bit easier, sometimes I like to double twist, I'll twist the thread. You can see then you twist it like that, and it actually makes it a lot stiffer and a lot easier to thread, so that might help you as well. So we'll go through it again, threading tube, down through there, through our first guide, into our take-up lever, back up into the other take-up lever, final guide, and then up through the back of our looper. It has a hole, and it runs into the thread groove here, and then through our eye at the end, and then we can just take our thread out the back. Okay, that's the upper looper. Okay, we're going to do our lower looper. So we're going to come from our tension unit, again through this threading tube here, out the bottom of that. We've got 2 guides, top guide, the bottom guide, then through the take-up lever, then onto the looper drive, take-up lever. Then you can see we're going to come up to our looper, and we're going to, again, to make it easy to twist the thread so it's a bit thicker, we're going to pop it through this hole here. It's then going to come out the back. I'm going to show you some more detail after. I'll show you from the back, but you come in through this hole here. Then we're going to take the thread, we're going to wind our looper right over to its farthest stroke to the left. We're going to thread it through the hole at the end of the looper. Then we're going to bring our looper back forward again. The thread's going to come along the thread groove, and we're going to thread it through the final eye. So I'll show that detail now. Okay, you can see I've wound the looper, the lower looper. This is our chain looper. We'll be doing this shortly, but this is our lower looper, and you can see you can actually see the thread down in there entering at the back. The first hole we went through, we brought it through into the next hole. Now we're going to wind the looper forward, as I mentioned, and we're going to thread it that way. But it just makes, these machines are quite open. Some machines are a bit different, but pretty much the same. You can see there's our lower looper thread there. This is the most difficult one to thread, which people hate, but on the Jack machine it's not too bad. Okay, we're going to do our chain looper. You can see it comes straight down from this threaded bar here. Down, there's a threading tube down here. It's a vertical one, it goes down. Then there's another horizontal threading tube that goes through under your cloth bed. You can see it comes out here. Then you can see there we've got a guide here. Then it goes under our tension unit. This is a little tension unit. It's only very light, but chain looper doesn't need much tension. Under that tension unit, back up through the top again. So there are your two guides for your tension unit. Then we go through to our kidney take up. So we can actually lift this up, it makes it a lot easier. There's a flat bar here, you can see this one, it actually goes under that and under this one. And there it is there. I'll show you from the top. There we go, so it goes under this flat bar, under that one, and through this guide, second guide, third guide. Okay, so from the tension unit, under this flat bar, under the next one, through that eyelet, guide, guide, and a guide over here. Then don't forget to push down your, and it clicks in like that. And then through our looper. So it's a very similar process. You can see I removed the plate. The plate's only got 2 screws, so it's self-centers and it's easy to take off. Take it 2 screws. Sometimes even if you're finding it difficult to thread your other loopers, you can certainly do this, especially if you're threading from scratch. I think generally you would tie on and pull through, but that doesn't always work. So if you're at this, at where we are now, then sometimes taking the plate off it makes it easier. You can see your loopers, you can move them to where you want them. So you can see with this fella, it's coming through the back, out there along our thread groove, and then through the front, very similar to our lower looper. Okay, so that's our chain looper. Okay, next is our chain stitch needle. It's a little bit unconventional to have a 4-thread set up. Generally the right hand tension unit for the needle, it goes to the right needle and the left goes to the left. With a chain stitch it's in reverse. So essentially we've got our, if I can zoom back, our tension unit here, this fella here. So this is going to go across and go to our left needle, which is our chain needle. So from our tension unit, we've got 2 guides here. We're going to take the bottom one. Now this felt pad here, a lot of people ask me if that's to put oil in. It is, but only silicone oil. It's not for sewing machine oil. There's a little reservoir here. If you're having problems with thread fusing or overheating, it also keeps your needles cooler. If you're doing some heavier fabrics, you can put some silicone oil down here in this reservoir. There's also another one down below which actually feeds silicone oil to little pads in your needle, lower needle guards, to cool the tips of the needle as well. So that's silicone oil only, guys, not sewing machine oil. So once we come through our guide here, we've got 2 guides here. This is where our take up, this fella moves up and down, that's our take up. Then we've got a little guide, a little sneaky one at the back here, and straight across the one above our needle. And then we've got a tight one here that keeps our thread really close to our needle, and then down through the front of the needle and out the back. These overlockers take a B27 needle, which is what most industrial overlockers take, unless they're a curved needle or something. And also always make sure that you orientate your needle correctly. Make sure you've got your long groove at the front and your scarf at the back, and your needle's nice and straight and inserted fully as well. Okay, so from our tension we've got a guide here past our pad. We've got 2 guides here where our take up is. We've got a little bent shaped L-shaped guide here, guide above our needle, and then a little tight one there to keep it close. I go from the front and take it out the back and then through the front. Okay, and that's our chain stitch needle done. Okay, our last thread is going to be the right needle, or your overlocking needle, if you want to call it that. So essentially you can see we use the upper guide. We come from our tension unit. We've got our top guide here. And what I'll do now is before we go through our take up, remember our chain came through here. This fella is going to go up a bit higher, so I actually move the machine over, and then I can actually thread it pretty much from one side to the other, straight through. So through there, there's actually a hole in the take up lever too. It doesn't go through there, it just rubs across the top here. You can really see it rubbing there. Okay, so it doesn't go through the hole, it's just totally free. So from this side to that side, I've got a guide here, wind it back up. So from that guide now I've got a little tiny clamp back here. If you can see, that's a little spring-loaded clamp. So it goes in behind that, and then there's another little sneaky guide here, similar to the one at the front here, a little tiny one in there that goes through the back of that, again keeps the thread really close to the needle. and then down through the front. Okay, so from our tension unit, top guide, straight through this frame here from side to side, where our take-up lever is, through this guide here, through our little spring-loaded guide at the back, and then through our guide which is just hidden in behind the blade here. So if I can bring it up a bit higher. In through there, a loop one, and then down through your needle. So that's the threading of our 5-thread Jack E4S. I'm going to thread it up completely now and we'll give it a test sew. Okay guys, we've got our machine fully threaded. We'll give it a go. Okay, looking good, tensions look good. Alright guys, if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel so we can make it bigger. Cheers guys, bye.